for those skirmishers than Jinx does until Jinx hits that third item.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like we're going to be getting into our game here. We are going to be seeing a pretty standard 5-point from both teams. You know, we're guarding all the jungle entrances. Neither team is making an aggressive move. In terms of item matchups, we've got Doran's Shield on both top laners. Neither top laner wants to take aggressive trades in the 1 to 3 level range, or you'd see a Doran's Blade. We see double D-Ring on mid lane, double Blade on ADC, so it's completely mirrored items as well. It's just very small trades and pokes out here in the mid lane. We're in the pregame.
At this point, both teams are just going to kind of stare at each other, right? There's not too much interesting that's going to happen here. But I think if there's anything we're really seeing here, it's that we're going to go ahead and get the... I mean, we got even the same jungle item, right? We're just like totally mirrored the entire way through. The only real difference,
clear directions.
We even got Doran's Shield on both top laners, which is really interesting. I'm surprised to see Majora go for the less aggressive start, but I suppose I understand, especially when you really...
If you're looking at Xin Zhao, man, you're looking at Xin Zhao ganking you gotta.
Yeah, I suppose that's absolutely fair. And both top laners are already getting decent trades off with... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we do see, I do want to address the jungle pathing, because we see that our goal on the J4 is actually going to be pathing towards the bot side of the map early here. He's starting red and pathing bottom, and we're going to see the Xin Zhao is doing what we expected and pathing towards the top lane for an early gank. But Jarvan appears to be doing a 6 clamp to bottom, unless he's going to go top immediately after these raids here. So this is an aggressive and an interesting path for him that really means that he wants to fight more for the bottom side of the map.
That is true, but I'm seeing coordination already coming out of Fangs here, because Majora has already created himself a four caster freeze on the top side, which is going to make it really difficult for
Majora taking a really...
Jesus!
Yeah, that's
terribly low.
That's the danger of freezing your lane early, is that if you take a trade in that big stacked up wave, you get obliterated. Minions probably did 200 damage to him there. The freeze puts him in a really strong place in lane, but he has taken so much poke damage that he is in a bit of a rough spot. This is a bit of an aggressive engage from Majora. You don't generally,
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that fight is winnable in that kind of wave. Maybe just a little oversight from Majora there.
You don't want to be taking fights that early on Jax. We're seeing a grasp on Majora. If he has lethal tempo, that's a fight he can take, but he took grasp, which means he shouldn't be taking extended fights.
Exactly, like these short concentrated trades. But this first gank coming in from J4, he's getting awfully low. Almost dead. Poppy also taking huge chunks of damage, and both these
when you gank,
they're putting themselves into a lot of danger. And then it looks like Rock Guy's going to go ahead and get 2v1 here by Argol and Rando Kanto, and Gogeta's going to try and pick up this kill. Rando Kanto is actually going to go ahead and get that 300 gold, but that's 2 kills going over to Fangs in the early game.
Very cleanly played by Fangs, and just too over aggressive on the side of high alert. I understand you really want to get that Yunara ahead early. She's so strong at that moment. You're stacked up and you're looking at a bunch of low health enemy champions, but just an overly aggressive move in the bot lane leads to a early double kill on a Jinx, or 2 kills early, 2 assists for the Jinx, which is not a thing that you want to see.
And we're already seeing that mind game kind of come into play, right? Where we're seeing like this inverse of what you think the standard would be from Fangs, where they pick this entire team that looks like they're going to play through top lane, but they path bot, they pick up these couple kills, even with what look like a potential fail gank, and all Less Forces gets to do is help bounce the wave topside, which is going to reset, but ultimately isn't going to create nearly as much advantage as Argol's going to be able to create for Fangs here.
Yep. Setting the Jax behind early does have a big impact, because that one kill on Jax, which just was an error from the Jax player, is going to create a lane state where he can't trade with K'Sante anymore. That one kill is going to put him in a place where he is going to get out-traded in lane at all points.
Absolutely, but he's still getting these solid wave states, and so he's still... It feels to me like he's getting farm that he really shouldn't.
Yes, absolutely. Like, if this is the wave state that you're in against this Jax, you should be looking to dive. This Jax is diveable. Since I was already,
because of the way the pathing worked out, you really can't dive here, and that's going to be a dead. That's going to be a dead Oso with with Majora pulling out the solo kill, and that's the kind of thing we've actually seen of him over and over again. Like, he's found points where even as a dominant top laner, he's been behind in the early game, but he just like mind controls his opponent.
Yeah, that was
tower.
That was pure mind control. I don't know. An aggressive gank for mid lane gets the Victor Flash. Very good, very well played from what's his name? Last Force there. That was a well-executed, clean Xin Zhao gank.
The top lane fight is really important. Let's talk about that, right? Like,
that champion has no other mobility options, especially when you choose to take teleport on him. He can choose to take Ghost, which does mean that this becomes less of an issue. But with the current setup, he's got teleport. Having no flash on Victor means that you are literally just stuck walking around. Especially,
and it looks like Less Force gank is going to burn the flash on Poppy, which is another one of those really valuable resources when it comes to what are going to be some pretty shortcoming drag fights. Poppy with the Flash E is one of the cleanest engages that you can ask for from these bot side fights, and that's not going to be available in the upcoming few minutes. And we're going to get another trade in the top lane coming out for Majora and Oso, and they're really just
these guys are just beating each other up,
beating the crap out of each other.
These are real top laners.
Yeah, and here's a well-timed gank from Argyle, now recognizing that, hey, my guy's in trouble, but he gets unstoppable by Oso and misses the knockup. And we've got Rando Kanto up here too. Everybody's here to get more kills to the Cassante, but Argyle's going to go ahead and make it out alive, and they're going to be able to trade back and get a reset wave state from Argyle.
Yeah, very well-timed gank from Argyle. Unfortunately, not well-timed enough because Jax took too much damage, and now this is a straight repeat.
Yep.
You know, if it works once, it works twice.
Same exact gank, except this time the Victor doesn't have flash, and that's the kind of thing we're talking about when we say that flash matters, especially for Victor, because Ahri's R cooldown is short, and she has flash already, right? These are things that really, really provide you with a huge advantage against the less mobile, more damage-heavy Victor, and that's what we talk about when we say she's blind pickable, is that she just has all kinds of angles she can attack you from. She's not just damage, she also carries really, really easy to land CC and punch and mobility, and that's going to help with that gank right there, bringing down the Victor.
Yeah, very strong play from the Xin Zhao to find that angle to get in on the side where Victor can't see him. Victor is strong into these ganking champions because W shuts them down so hard, but Xin Zhao is doing an excellent job finding angles out of sight on that little curve top of the mid lane bridge, where he can land the W before Victor can see him, which makes the gank completely free. So I do want to call out the play there.
And it looks like Majora and Oso are going to just keep getting into it over and over again. They're just scrapping it out. Majora, it looks like, is really using these trades in order to guarantee that he's getting a reasonable amount of farm, keeping this wave from crashing into his turret. He's actually got a 9 CS advantage in this lane. Or sorry, excuse me. He's actually got a slight CS advantage in this lane, even though you would expect him to be losing pretty hard. And that's going to be the Victor burning a very critical peel spell for himself right into the Xin Zhao gank. And Ahri's just got the mobility to dance around the Victor cloud, and that's going to be another kill picked up for Argyle and Argyle and Breadbomb. Against Argyle and for Breadwaters.
The Xin Zhao is really making it work here on the aggression on mid lane. Victor's just got to find the ward angle. Like, ward your raids, man.
Oh my god, what a clean gank from Argyle on the bot lane. Everybody hitting the Poppy shield. Argyle looking for one last auto attack, using his ulti to get out. He's going to take one more turret shot, but he's still alive. Xin Zhao's going to go ahead and burn the ulti, but it looks like Rando Kanto's going to try a suicide in order to save his team. He's taking turret. Less Force is going to go ahead and pick this up eventually, but the rest of the team is trying to escape on the backside. Rando Kanto's actually finding a way to run away. He's dodges another Xin Zhao E. He's still on his way out. He's going to look for the volcanic.
Can he make it?
Before this Less Force. Oh my god, he's got a shield. Does he have the angle? No, he does not. He's going to go ahead and try and pick up the execute, but Less Force is going to get the kill.
Overall, strong gank from Argyle that gets turned a little bit on Fangs, and they end up passing a Poppy kill to the Xin Zhao. To be honest, if you're going to donate a kill, I guess you wanted to go to Xin Zhao.
Oh, absolutely. If you're high alert, I think you're ultimately happy with how that situation plays out. Majora just still trying to trade with this Cassante. It's really not looking as profitable as it's been the entire game, but Argyle's going to go in on Breadwater again. They're going to go ahead and, oh my god, Gogeta with the exact damage ulti to go ahead and
be so close.
Yeah, and they're going to go ahead and pick up a free dragon here because that's the exact type of pick you need in order to get these objectives for your jungler.
Yep, now it's just free. I mean, they can high alert can try and contest, but it's looking dicey. But
because of that,
in the top
high alert knows exactly where they are. Majora's going to go ahead and try and jump on Oso. Oso's going to respond back, but the
Majora picks up
Majora's going to go ahead and solo kill Oso.
This top lane is so weird. We're going to see another aggressive engage from Argyle. We're continuing to go. This man has to go back and spend his money. We are going to see Taichi go down, and then a top lane, we are going to see Jax drop to Last Force. These top laners have no breaks.
Yeah, they do. They clearly don't care. Like they came to farm. Like they came to
Majora. This item build for Majora is absurdly aggressive. I mean, no boots at 12 minutes.
No, of course, that's the Majora way. You build Triforce and you hope everything else works out later, right?
Like, why do I need boots? Keisante's going to stand there and hit me.
Yeah, he's going to stand still and auto-attack me. I shall simply auto-attack him back and harder.
For Keisante, we see this the very generic double chain vest Frozen Fist build. Double chain vest into these AD top laners gives you it makes you unkillable. Unfortunately, Jax does do a significant amount of magic damage, which means that this double chain vest build is probably a little less effective than it could be. Honestly, it's probably just go straight Frozen Fist in this matchup.
It's not at its best in this matchup, but there's still going to be a reasonable amount of physical damage, especially from this particular Jax build. And it looks like Gogeta's just letting this ultimate go on cooldown, just trying to hit it whenever it comes up. And it is going to potentially force it back on Oso here because it did connect and do a solid 20 to 30% of his health.
Yep, Oso's now going to have to be careful because, as we have seen, even behind that, Jax does have kill threat. And we are sitting on a completed Triforce on Oso and no completed item on... completed Triforce on Majora and no completed item on Oso, which is going to mean that the trades are going to go heavily in Jax's favor until Oso can pick up that completed item.
And it looks like they're going to be looking for a dive here. Argle's going to go ahead and walk up. He's taking the turret for about 5 minutes. They're going to go ahead and swap the aggro, but the Unstoppable comes out. Argle puts up the... Oh, Majora's stuck underneath the turret. While Breadwater comes to try and clean it up, he lands the charm.
Majora's going to go down. Argle tried to break aggro in the middle there and did not, unfortunately, and that is why he went down there. A nice dive attempt. Oh my god, we're getting more fights.
We got an Alistar counter-engage. Vegeta's already had to burn the flash. Less Force is going to show up here. Poppy's going to go ahead and land the ulti, but Gogeta's really trying to scrap it out. He's just knocked out the damage. Rando Kanto's trying to make it out, and it looks like he's going to be able to get away clean. Another kill for Taika and Frog Guy going down bot lane. Really trying to get this Yunara online at this point with her first kill of the game.
Yep, we are being a little over-aggressive on the map. These teams are fighting quite a lot, which is not what you expect to see when you see these picks, but we're fighting.
I don't think Majora knows any way but war. I don't think either top lane.
Yeah, but why
needs to not fight?
But why are we taking 2v2 all-ins playing like Jinx Poppy against Alistar Yunara? Like,
I didn't play League of Legends to not fight. I'm trying to see that gold number go up. You know what I'm saying? Like
Majora again, we're going to see him trading lightly with Oso, but at this point, Oso has completed his Frozen Fist, so these trades are going to be a lot more even coming into this lane now.
Not to mention Majora hasn't dealt any damage in the past 5 minutes or so.
Yep, he's been just purchasing that.
His boots, his Ruby Crystal, his cooldown pot.
Yep, I'm interested to see what we're going to see in the second item here from him because Jax's builds can be so versatile.
Absolutely, he still builds any item in the game and makes it work, right?
Most of them. I wouldn't build like Ardent Sensor.
Okay, you got me with the Ardent Sensor. I'm not gonna lie. I thought.
All right, Majora is going to be getting ganked here by the Iron and just goes down immediately, but that is going to buy time for his team to pick up this Rift Herald. I think they're going to get it. Yep, just at the tail end, very very close there on the timing, but they do manage to pick that up and get out.
This is potentially a 3v2, but it looks like Five Fangs doesn't really want the smoke there, and they're just going to go ahead and just engage behind the Poppy, take their Rift Herald, and be on their merry way.
We see Keisante rotating down, and Five Fangs just decides, all right, we don't want this. And Majora is now sitting at a comfortable 2-5, keeping up in CS and buying his team a lot of pressure.
Buying his team a lot of pressure, but also buying Keisante a lot of items.
Yes, that is unfortunately true. So we are looking at one completed item about across the board here. Nobody's sitting out on an egregious gold advantage right so far, although Xin Zhao is definitely looking to build one.
And it looks like we're going to go ahead and get a full engage here from Argle. Jinx is free firing on the backline, but it's just not that much damage before she has her items. Poppy's going to go ahead and wind up the hammer for some disengage. Looks like they're going to end up holding it. We've got another fight going down top lane because both the top laners have noticed that the jungler is not nearby, and therefore they have the license to be able to beat each other up.
Yep, it looks like High Alert wants to take the dragon, so the Xin Zhao is going to be on that. We are getting a teleport in from Victor. Poppy is looking around. Dragon goes down.
A really close Jinx ulti there. Poppy looks like they're going to be trying to find this Alistar. Majora and Oso are going to be fighting yet again top lane, but they're going to be chasing the entire team out. Poppy's actually taking a lot of damage here, but it looks like she's going to go in. She's going to pop the ulti on the Alistar. Arnold's going to go ahead and follow up. Oso and Majora fighting in the top lane. Majora's going to go ahead and get chunked out low. Wow, Oso uses his ultimate. There's so many things happening everywhere, but ultimately nobody dies. I guess
we do see Alistar go down for High Alert. Five Fangs finding
Majora's going to go ahead and try and take another fight on Oso.
Oh my god.
Oso's just so tanky. Majora can't really do the damage. And Oso's going to go ahead and take out Majora, and that's going to be another solo kill for Keisante. And the turret. No.
we swapped right there between that fight in the mid lane where we just saw Alistar die to a really clean combo from the Poppy, immediately to the outplay watching Sante flash the Jax.
Oh my god, K4 is getting another fight under turret. Oh, he's so dead here. This is going to be another kill given over to the Yunara.
Yep, Yunara started to get very big, and that is going to be very dangerous. She's getting really close to that 2-item spike we were talking about pregame. Not looking clean on the Yunara for the 5 Fangs there.
It is worth noting that Jinx is playing a little bit of this catch-up game, though, with their build really looking for a 2-item spike for themselves as well, giving up the utility / AoE of Runedanc's Hurricane, or perhaps
just rush directly into the IE.
Yep, looks like she's going to go directly for IE, which means she's not going to be a super high DPS character, but she is going to provide a lot of damage in the 4 or 5 auto attack she is going to land, and hopefully that combined with the rocket is going to be enough, but they're going to go ahead and dive Majora under the bot side turret, and that's just not going to be enough for Majora, just TPing directly into death.
Yep, very, very clean. When you're up against that Alistar, you have to be aware that he can dive you at impunity. The tower is not a relevant safety bastion against Alistar with ult up.
Absolutely, and it looks like they're just doing a classic lane swap here to try and get as much farm into Gogeta as possible, which stands to reason, right? Like, you didn't pick the Jinx to make sure she didn't get CS. She's gotten a reasonable amount of kills early. You just really want to try and get her as much gold as possible to hopefully try and make up for, we'll call it, aggression from Majora.
This is a bit of an interesting rotation. Normally, at this point in the game, you would send your bot lane into mid, but I suppose that they see that the mid tower is the mid tower down?
Mid tower is still going to be up, but ultimately they are going to get a little bit punished for the side lane decision because Gogeta's going to go ahead and get hit up, but they're going to send all 5 topside here. Gogeta is going to live somehow.
He's clutch. The man is clutch. We do see that the mid tower is down for high alert, so I think that we are just trying to clean up all of the outer turrets. So we're sending the Jinx in.
Not to mention sending Jinx into a lane where the turret's already down means that she has to farm forward, and that's relatively unsafe. They're going to go ahead and pick up Otacon off that fight topside. Gogeta still hasn't actually taken it back, but she's going to land the W onto Breadwater and just clean up another wave. This is just so much gold in the pockets of Gogeta just off the 4 assists she picked up. Plus the Otacon.
Gogeta has going to spike massively off this fight. We might see him complete his Infinity Edge here. That would put him on 2 items with the Yunara. Yep. Oh, are we he's waiting. Not quite enough. Infinity Edge is such a big purchase. That puts, so for the next fight, this Yunara is going to be a lot more impactful than the Jinx just because of that item difference, coming solely from the difference between 2850 gold for Runedanc's and 3650 for IE. And
that seeing how Poppy's holding these lanes, right? What I'm really thinking is that we're trying to get 3 more waves into this Jinx, cheat another recall out, and just immediately buy this IE with the 625 gold that she needs on top of these item components, right? Especially if they can try and get that done before any of the next objectives are up.
Yeah, we are going to see Dragon spawning in 45 seconds. So when Jinx backs here in the next 10 seconds, we're not going to see her with an IE on this Dragon fight. Which is going to be a big problem for 5 Fangs because they're really relying on Jinx for the damage output in these fights.
It is going to be an issue, and it looks like she's not going to pick up this wave quickly enough. So it looks like they're going to go ahead and press this advantage. I'm not sure if High Alert sees the fact that Yunara is relevantly ahead of Jinx right now, but they at least know enough to know that they have an advantage and that 5 Fangs is falling off.
Yes, they know they're strong now. They're looking the pressure. What is this Victor build? We've seen Engage going in down here on...
Looks like Westport is going to get a little bit caught out. Rando Kanto is going to go ahead and try and get a lot of damage down, but they're going to flash in and kill themselves. Majora's in the entire team just taking a ton of damage, really just kind of toughing it out. Argo's going to be on the backside trying to peel the Jinx. Gogeta is ultimately not going to get any DPS down, which is going to be a huge difference maker in that fight, as High Alert trades 2 for 0 and is going to go ahead and pick up this Fork Drake.
Yep. Just a very cleanly executed engage from High Alert to catch out a poorly timed engage from Argol, who is now going to be going in on the mid lane. We see Argol go in, and he is going to get picked up.
Argol's going to go ahead and lose his life for that. Argol is going to go ahead and try and make it out. He's got the dominance. He's going to hit the volcano plant. If he can find one more flag and drag, he's probably going to be all the way out, and it looks like he's going to make it to his mid-tier 2. Rando Kanto's going to be there to try and peel off tight to prevent the dive. Argol's ultimately going to make it out. The punish is still a few camps going over to High Alert, but ultimately, considering how hard he was caught, not the worst thing in the world.
No, a clean escape from Argol there. So this Victor build is going to... we are really depending on Jinx for damage here because Victor is going to... That item build is very, very low damage. I mean, we've got the Blackfire Torch, which is a low damage, low AP starting item, and then into the Bloodletter's Curse. The only other magic damage on the team is coming out of, Jax? This is a very... very strange choice.
Sure, I understand where we're going with this Victor build either, but I'm just going to go ahead and trust it. It looks like Majora's going to try to fight Oso once again in the spot lane. This time with the help of Argyle. Oso just going to try and walk it out with the massive amount of armor he has. But Majora's going to go ahead and stun him up once again. Argyle's going to flag and drag. They're just going to get another knockout. Oso's going to knock them even further towards his team. This fight is taking 40 seconds. Why is nobody helping? Oh my god, Argyle's not going to have the cooldowns. Oso's going to be able to just walk out alive. There's a TP coming in. And that appears to be the only resource burned from High Alert in exchange for that gank.
Yeah, looked like a very Kesante sort of moment where he just walked away from a bunch of damage. But in the end, we do burn on the Offrey TP for that gank, which is a very relevant resource to be burned at this point in the game. We can see the Barons coming up here in 40 seconds, and now we have the Offrey stranded in bot lane with no TP on the Baron spawn timer. That is very relevant. We're going to see Yunar engage here.
Sure. Yep, and Yunar really just chunking out Jinx with that ultimate, trying to DPS as she kites away. She's going to ultimately get a lot of damage down here. Majora's going to try and jump straight on her, but she's going to go ahead and kite out. As long as she doesn't get stunned up, she's going to be okay. She's going to go ahead and hit the W onto Majora. Majora's going to die here. Argyle tries to get the counter engage. He's going to land a 4-man ulti, but ultimately the frog guy flashes out. Argyle looking for the poke. He's going to go ahead and get the 80 carry down. Gogeta's still able to free fire from the backline, but Argyle's not going to be able to escape in time. We're going to get an engage from Jin Zhao. Gogeta's going to try and get as much DPS as he can, but just not going to be able to penetrate the Jin Zhao ulti, and that is another win for High Alert. But only a 2-for-1.
Yes, but importantly, we have picked the jungler, which opens up a Baron choice, a Baron option. So we could see High Alert transition here into Baron after this tier 2 mid because we do have the Jarvan dead. Lacking their ADC, they might choose another option, though.
Especially considering High Alert does sincerely lack DPS without their ADC up. And
so far, this is going according to the Fangs script. We will have to see if they will pull the comeback out, as we have seen them do so many times in scrims.
Unsure, the script included a 9-death performance from Majora with 134 CS at 25 minutes. But ultimately, we are this far into the game. The Jinx has a reasonable amount of kills. You're relatively even in terms of map resources. And as long as you don't lose an objective in the next, 2 minutes, you should be able to see a third item on Jinx this game, which is really, really what you're looking for.
Yeah, the gold tracker is only about 1.7 in favor of 5 High Alert right now. So a very winnable game when you have that hyper carry on that Jinx. But it is a difficult position to be in. Especially that sends out at 4-0-5 is looking very dangerous.
An absolutely massive performance, by the way, from Lessforce. Really doing everything he can to not only mitigate the fight's top lane, but ultimately turn them, finding multiple good ganks mid and bot, just really having a huge impact on this game. And
both junglers have been incredibly active and aggressive this game. This has really been a jungle-directed game so far.
Yeah, and the thing is, what I was going to say is we've seen that reflected from Argyle, who's also putting in an excellent performance from his team, ultimately being in 11 of these 13 kills. Maybe not as clean a job as Lessforce is doing, but really doing
after we say that, it looks like Lessforce might lose his perfect KDA here as he's getting engaged heavily on in the
Flag and Drag's going to land, the traps are going to land. The shutdown's going to go over to Jinx, which is huge. Oso and Majora are also fighting in the top lane, and they are going to have time to make it over. Oh my god, Kesante is broken.
No, that was
absurd.
Colossal mistake from Kesante. Oso handed that fight to Majora, because if you just Kesante ult and don't knock him through the wall into his own team, you kill him there. But we're gonna hand deliver him to his own team.
And
very, very solo queue behavior, by the way, for the two top laners to be beating each other in the face while your jungler is getting ganked in your own jungle.
Yeah, in your own jungle, in a helpable position.
Both top laners, guys, come on. I understand the top lane mindset, but you gotta learn your macro.
No, I love it. I think this is how the game was meant to be played. You see the other guy stand across from you in your lane, that guy's the only one who exists.
See, unfortunately,
is for the weak.
Unfortunately, the end result of that is that every top lane matchup is Darius versus Trundle, because if you play like that, ultimately Darius and Trundle are unbeatable.
Yeah, exactly. It's a concept I called carry feeding back in my early days of League, where I'd have somebody on my team who's gone 20-17, but they don't understand why we can't do anything against the other guy on their team who's 17-20, because that guy has 4,000 more gold than us. But I mean,
my 20-17 Darius flaming us while they're 17-20 Kale at 45 minutes ends the game.
45 minutes, one shot the entire team. Yeah, exactly. That being said, we're gonna get 4 mid here from Fangs. They're gonna be trying to pressure this turret.
Yeah, with their Baron. Very strong position for them to be in right now. Majora again.
Worth noting, for maybe the first time this entire game, Majora solo split pushing against the Kesante. is probably the correct thing to do. These Baron minions are incredibly hard for Cassante to deal with, and Majora's going to have to basically free hit the turret as long as Cassante is not using his ultimate. And using your ultimate just to push the Jax off your turret, probably not advisable when team fights are so prominent right now.
Yeah, this is a very commanding position for Five Fangs. They did it again. Just a lot of pressure. Jinx is going to be able to get a complete free farm here. She's going to get 1 to 1.5 waves a minute. Jax is just scaling up here in the bot lane. I know he's 2 and 9, but it still don't matter when he hit 4 items. So
and
this is
honestly,
very strong.
What we've seen from Majora is even as he's been this behind, he's been landing critical, huge stuns in team fights in coordination with Argyle, right? Argle's been hitting 3 people on a flag and drag, hitting an ultimate, and Majora's been right behind him, stunning like 3-4 people at a time. And it's one of the reasons why they've won these team fights. Like, I don't think just because Majora's stat line doesn't look very good that we should be discounting the things that he's able to do, especially around Dragon and these other jungle choke points that we're going to see more and more of as the game continues. Five Fangs is going to go ahead and force down a turret, though.
Five Fangs, this is the position Jinx wants to be in the most, where you are just slowly and inexorably pushing your way in. You can free hit with the 700 range rockets and just slowly whittle down towers from a position where the enemy team can't engage on you. High Alert has to find an in here because otherwise they're just going to get ground.
Yeah, for sure. And looks like we're going to go ahead.
This is not an in.
No, looks like we're going to be a little bit separated from our team. But Jinx is free firing over the wall, which is one of the best things she can do. But it looks like the rest of High Alert is going to get out of range. Frog Guy's going to go ahead and get a kill. Argyle is pretty low on the side here. Majora is just going to go ahead and sacrifice his life for the rest of his team. While High Alert takes a 2 for 0 and looks for an objective, but isn't really going to find one.
A bit of a sketchy fight there from Five Fangs. The engage over the wall when the Jinx and a Victor who can't follow you at that distance. If you're going to push over the wall, you can't go any further. And unfortunately, pushing a little too far, Rando Kanto overextends and gets picked for his trouble.
Of course, and the thing is, it was so close to being a good team fight. The High Alert recognizing that the Jinx is free firing over the wall and that they have to do something about that. Oh my god, I can't believe they're actually going to go for the win here. We're going to get a really strong fight for the Jinx because this is just going to be a front-to-back one, and it looks like they're going to look for a reset. Jinx is going to go ahead and reset, but she's going to be charmed up. Redwater's going to get chased out by Rando Kanto, but it looks like they're ultimately going to make it out. They're going to land a slow coming from Jin Zhao onto the Poppy, and that's going to be an inhib for High Alert. Finding an objective where there really wasn't one to be found. Majora's going to go ahead and use the TP bot lane, though, and it's going to be
extremely aggressive TP
for Five Fangs.
Yep. Majora, this is an extremely aggressive TP for Majora. Honestly, probably should have been on top. But what we are looking to do is create as much pressure as possible just to give our team some breathing room. Right now, Five Fangs really have to look to regroup and control the mid lane, keep that pushed in so that they have an opportunity to fight for Baron, because the lane is going to push towards them over time, and if the super minions are knocking on their Nexus while the Baron fight is happening, they're in a bad spot.
Of course, and it is... having super minions start spawning basically as their Baron buff runs out is going to be super rough for Five Fangs. And they're going to look to try and trade this objective before they start getting back to the shove. Looks like they
have to secure this
down.
Yep.
But there's the TP coming in for the Cassante on the side. He's ultimately not going to find a pick. They're going to be free firing on him. Redwater's on a killing spree. Going to go ahead and take care of the Poppy.
Majora.
Argle's going to go ahead and get into the backline along with Majora. Majora's going to try and 1v1 the Yunar, but Yunar's doing so much damage. And it looks like Taika's going to get taken down. That's going to be a reset. Argyle looking for another flag and drag. Going to land a slow onto Jin Zhao. He's going to be trying to get enough DPS to be able to get him down. That's going to be the ultimate coming out from Argyle. That's a quadra kill for Victor. Oh my god. There's only one person left on High Alert, and it's Frog Guy.
Five Fangs found the team fight that they needed there. Victor and Jinx were just allowed to freely attack the backline and the front line and just get massive AoE value. And the Jax stun on 4 people, just an incredible engage. Majora really showing why, you can't discount Jax even if he's behind as hell.
Yeah, for sure. And you would never call Jax a utility top laner, but Majora really showing how to maximize the value you can get out of your character when you find yourself in that early hole or having trouble getting into the game in like a traditional sense, just trying to abuse every single part of his kit in the best way possible and ultimately being able to contribute to what appears to be a winning game state for Five Fangs as they go ahead and take down this Baron.
Yep. The Zanya's Hourglass that he's working towards is, or he has just purchased, that's not an item you buy on Jax when you're trying to solo carry. That's an item you buy on Jax when you're trying to make a big stun.
Yeah, so, for sure.
That's what he's looking to do, and really that's what you got to do when you're a top laner and you get behind. You got to look for the ways that you can influence the game with the base aspects of your kit, even when you're behind on stats.
Yeah, there's just so many kits in the game that have things that they can do other than damage. It's one of those things where, like, when you fall behind, usually you should just be trying to enhance utility. When you're ahead, you push damage because you have the money to do so.
Well, the concept is that on parity, you push damage. When you're behind, you push damage because You can't build defenses to not get one shot. They're 2 ahead, and then when you're ahead, you build defensively because you have enough damage from being ahead that you don't need more, and you should be able to not fall behind. You already got the advantage. But when you're playing Jax and you're in the top lane and you're just behind statistically and you know you can't win fights, Zhonya's does let you find those stuns and get out alive, and that can be enough.
Absolutely. It looks like they're going to take the bear buff to top lane. They're going to look for an engage onto Ozo here. Argo's going to go ahead and use his flag and drag. Ozo's going to push him back over the wall. He's getting juggled around like a volleyball, and it looks like Victor's going to go ahead and free fire on the back line. That's going to be a lot of damage going up that turret. They're going to take it down, but they're going to go ahead and trade the jungler for it. Looks like Ari's going to try and find an engage here. They're going to land a charm to Victor, and it looks like Victor's trying to run away with his cloud. Gogeta's trying to free fire from the backline, but he's going to get hit up. Oh my god, he's going to get a reset. He's got so much damage. He can't quite take down Tyke, but he's going to get enough free fire to be able to do so. Majora's still fighting the backline. Ozo's getting taken really, really low, and this is going to be a Jinx reset. Quadra kill into the game for 5 Fangs.
Yep, 5 Fangs is going to pick it up here. That's a full HP Jinx fully revved up in a late game, so we can confidently assume this one's over. And 5 Fangs have done it again. Gogeta manages to find an insane fight to clean out the game where he just does it. You cannot count 5 Fangs out. Every single game, they get behind early and then they find a way in. Very impressive performance, especially from both junglers and from Gogeta.
And also just interesting, right?
7-1.
What it looks like when we decide to play through Gogeta, because we thought this was going to be a top lane game, right? And don't get me wrong, both